Thank you so much for coming
Shannon.
in today.
Appreciate it.
All right, so what is your sense among your colleagues about how close you are or aren't going to be to avoiding sequestration?
I see sequestration happening. Now, a lot of people are saying, what is that word? You know, it sounds like kidnapping. They don't really have a handle on it, but it means draconian cuts. Even though the military is not a big chunk of the budget, they will take an indiscriminately large cut. So for our military, here we are, we're fighting in Afghanistan, we're spread out all over the world. For us to have what essentially will be the smallest military before World War II, to that level, even though the threats against us are even greater. So it's a devastating cut to the military. We've exempted 150 programs, thank goodness, domestic programs, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, etc., but not to the providers of those services. So we'll be hearing from our hospitals, etc., soon. I don't see any movement, Shannon, in Congress to undo this. I don't see it. March 1st is right upon us.
It is very, very close. The president, during one of the presidential debates, though, kind of, I don't want to say dismissed the idea, but said sequestration is not going to happen. You know, Congress will intervene. This isn't going to play out. But you're saying, based on what you know and what you hear and see right now, you think that's the reality? Well,
we are famous for kicking the can down the road, as you know, and March 1st is just around the corner. We House Republicans are committed to making sure that sequestration does not happen, but we need a partner in this, just like the Israelis need the Palestinians. Not that I equate those two, but you need a partner. You need two to tango, as we say in South Florida. And we need somebody to deal with, to compromise with, to talk with. I don't think that the Democrats are doing very much to stop these cuts from happening. The president famously said during one of the debates, during the campaign, sequestration will not happen. Yet he was the one who developed this whole idea. I hope it doesn't happen. We're going to work so it doesn't happen. But we need Democrats, and especially the Senate, to help us out, to forge these cuts to not take place. We need the fighting military to be ever ready.
Now, the White House has said they didn't come up with this idea, that it was Congress's idea. There's been some debate over that. Bob Woodward's book, he says that it was administration officials who proposed this idea, came up with it. While we're debating that, I mean, it's now upon us. How do you answer those who say the defense budget, the Pentagon, is bloated? Even Republicans who say there is room to cut there. Is there a way to satisfy both sides and to acknowledge that maybe there is some fat that needs to go, but maybe not in this way?
Of course, every budget can be trimmed down. But when you look at the threats that the United States is facing in the Middle East, look at now North Africa blowing up, the Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, everyone is right there trying to get us. The military is only less than 20% of the budget, yet they're going to take 50% of the cuts. It's just too hard on our military. We've got to fight these cuts.
Do you think there's less motivation for some on the other side of the aisle because key domestic programs that just about everybody agrees you wouldn't want to see cut? I mean, key benefits to Social Security and other folks. But because those things aren't on the table, does it take away some of the motivation for both sides to get together and make something happen?
I think that pressure, I'm glad that those programs are exempt. 149 of them are. I'm glad that they are exempt, but it does take out some of the pressure because folks know, oh, we're not going to hurt the senior citizens, but we are going to hurt the providers of those services to those senior citizens. And so if those providers are not reimbursed, and heaven knows hospitals are already cut and doctors are to the bone, no pun intended, then it's going to be really hard for them to treat those elderly patients. So we need to compromise. It's not a four-letter word. Let's work together and save all of these programs, knowing that we've got a $16.4 trillion debt that has got to be under control. The spending problem is we're addicts to spending, and the first step for overcoming addiction is to understand that you have a problem. Washington has a spending problem.
Well, we wish you and your colleagues on the other side of the aisle all the best in finding some solutions, Congresswoman.
Thank you for the invitation.